What goes into your mouth hard and dry, but comes out soft and wet? It's chewing gum, you sick bastards. What up, YouTube? Let's here. Thanks again for visiting the channel. As always, I appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, thanks so much for watching. I'd appreciate it if you'd go ahead and give that thumbs up button a tap, just for the algorithm. And if you enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Today we're doing a quick review of the real Steel Megalodon, this guy right here. So let's do it up, y'all. This guy is, let's see here, 8.74 inches overall, so a pretty good sized knife, with a blade length of 3.9 inches and a cutting edge of 3.9 inches, and the handle is 4.8 inches overall. Do some size comparisons real quick. Compared to the Ontario Rat 1, the Megalodon is just a little bit bigger. And compared to the Rat 2, the Megalodon's going to be quite a bit bigger, obviously. Compared to the DEMKO knives, the DEMKO 8020S, this guy is going to be just a hair smaller than the Megalodon as well. And the 20.5 is going to be quite a bit smaller than the Megalodon. And last but not least, the SPYDERCO knives. We've got the SPYDERCO Pair 2, which is going to be just a little bit smaller than the Megalodon. And the Pair 3, which is obviously going to be quite a bit smaller than the Megalodon. Let's do carry profile real quick, get these guys closed. Alright. As you can see, when they're closed, the SPYDERCO Pair MILLITARY 2 is going to be just a little bit smaller as well, and the Pair 3 is going to be quite a bit smaller. Thickness on the Megalodon, as you can see, the Megalodon is going to be just a hair thicker than the Pair 3, and the height on this guy is going to be nowhere near as tall as the Pair 3. Let's check the blade stock thickness real quick. See if we still have any power on this thing. I'm surprised the battery hasn't died yet. Alright, so we are looking at 134 thousandths. Alright, and get a quick weight on this guy. If I can get it to turn on. Alright, we're zeroed out, so that's good. Alright, we're looking at 4.1 ounces. Turn it over real quick. Yeah, 4.1 ounces. Perfect. Okay. So, first things first, blade steel. This guy has a blade steel of M390. Now, this is a special version. I got this guy off of Indiana Knives, and this is an Indiana Knives exclusive. So this is not the normal blade steel for this knife. Normally, it comes in N690. N is November 690. Or they also have a budget version which comes in 14C28N. I'll go over all that in just a few minutes here. Excuse me. The blade profile for this guy is, I'm going to call it a drop point. They call it a Persian blade on the website, but it really doesn't look like a Persian blade to me. It might have like a hint of a recurve here, but I'm going to go ahead and call this a drop point just for argument's sake. It's got a full flat grind all the way down to the tip. There is no swedge or flat or anything like that, just a full flat grind. Does not have any blade play left, right, up, or down, and the blade is perfectly centered on this guy. That's perfect. The pivot is running on bearings, and this is a flipper-only operated knife. I would rather have like thumb studs here, maybe maybe a swedge you could use to open it up, but it looks like the blade's a little bit too thin for that. I always do prefer more than one method of deployment. You guys know that, but it is what it is. It's still a pretty nice knife. I'm glad I bought it. The hardware on this guy, the pivot, we're looking at a T8, and all the body screws are also T8s. The only T6s we have are down here on the lock bar insert. This is a titanium frame lock knife, but we're also looking at, we've got a stainless steel liner on the inside, on the show side, And this particular version is MICARTA, brown MICARTA. It also comes in black MICARTA, and they also make a couple of different versions. There is carbon fiber, and there's also a G10 version. Now the G10 version does not have the titanium lock side. The G10 version is a liner lock, so it's just got stainless steel liners on both sides and black G10 scales on both sides. There's no backspacer here. There's just a couple of standoffs and another pin here just for the lanyard hole. So you lanyard people out there will be happy about that. Normally, this guy has a milled titanium pocket clip on it, obviously other than the budget version. The budget version is going to have a stamped stainless steel pocket clip. And it's got kind of a swoop on it. It's a good looking pocket clip, but as you guys know, I don't have pocket clips on most of my knives, so that's why I don't have one on this guy. And the pocket clip screw also is a T8. I apologize about that. Something a little bit special about this knife, you can see that there's kind of like an S curve here in the way they did this, the cutout for the lock bar relief rather. And the way they did the lock bar relief cut here, you can see it's kind of cut into the titanium. It's a really interesting looking knife, which is one of the main reasons that I bought it. It's a good sizable knife, which is another reason that I bought it. But you don't really see titanium frame locks that look like this very often. It's just a very interesting looking knife. I like it a lot. Excuse me. As I said, this is running on bearings. And the action on this guy is absolutely fantastic. Shoots right out with the flipper tab, and it takes a little bit of encouragement to get it to drop down, but it's definitely not tight by any means. But it's not drop shutty either, for sure. This is definitely broken in. It was a lot tighter than this when I first got it, so it's broken in quite a bit, which is good. And the action's very smooth on this guy, very, very smooth. Disengagement is no problem at all. There's no lock stick or anything like that on this knife. And the detent is perfectly tuned as well. You can push button it, or you can light switch it. One thing I will say with this knife is you have to be very careful to keep your fingers away from the lock bar. If you put any pressure on this lock bar whatsoever, it will not allow you to actuate that flipper tab. So you just gotta be very careful to keep your fingers off of that lock bar. But as you can see, it's not really very difficult to do. Once you're used to that, it's really easy to operate this knife for sure. I think that's just about everything as far as specs and all that good stuff with the knife. As I said, this is a good knife for somebody with a bigger hand. Somebody with a smaller hand might find this thing too big. But the ergonomics on this thing are absolutely fantastic. You've got this this groove here just for your index finger. You can see that there's a sharpening choil, but no forward finger choil in this guy at all. And you've got quite a bit of open space here, so you're not really locked into any part of the knife whatsoever. You can't really choke up on it. But you don't really have to, I don't think, with this knife. It definitely isn't exactly a hard use knife, I wouldn't say for sure. This is just your average everyday carry knife. I think it would be good for most everyday mild to moderate cutting tasks. There's no jimping at all on the blade, but I don't really think it needs it at all. There is just a tiny little bit of jimping up here on the flipper tab. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, there we go. You can see there's 2 or 3 jimps there for you. And you can also see there that it's locking up at about 45%, which is pretty good. It's good solid lockup. And as I said before, there's no lock stick on this guy whatsoever. There is a little bit of jimping here, right on the lock bar, just so you can get to that. And the show side scales cut down just a little bit further so that you can get a little bit of access to that to disengage the knife. So again, very easy to use, very ergonomically friendly, very comfortable in the hand, and it's nice and slim, so it's not really going to take up a whole hell of a lot of room in the pocket, other than being longer. The handle on this guy is definitely longer than a lot of the EDC knives that you'll see out there for sure. The other versions of this guy, obviously I've never experienced those, I've never held them or anything, but the higher quality version is really, really nice to me. But if this version is no longer available, so the only versions that you're going to have available to you are the carbon fiber version and the G10 version, for the budget version, and there's also the black MICARTA version, which I also believe the black MICARTA version is also a titanium frame lock knife. The carbon fiber is also a titanium frame lock knife. The only one that is a liner lock is the black G10 version. Now the black G10 version I think goes for about $68 to $70. And it doesn't go up a whole hell of a lot for the more expensive versions. I think it's only up to about $100 depending on where you find it. If you are looking for the budget version, that one's called the Real Steel Megalodon Fossil. And the other versions are, I don't know if they call it the standard versions or just the Real Steel Megalodon. But you'll be able to tell which one is which by what the scales are made out of. This is currently available. There's versions available on Knife Center, and there's also versions available on Real Steel. I don't know why I keep saying Cold Steel. They're also available on Real Steel's website. I don't think they have the budget version available on Real Steel's website, but I will make sure that those are linked down in the description for this video in case anybody's interested in getting this guy. But I think that's it for this particular review, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And stay up, y'all. Take it easy. Bye.